Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? I'm here today with Joost from the amazing band CATAPULTS out of Germany. Our first German guest, so this is awesome. Welcome to the show, man. How are you?
Hey, Shane. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Very humbling start to the whole thing.
Well, I gotta say, being able to talk to a band that I've promoted on the show, and you reaching out to us to say you heard it, I mean, that's humbling to us as well. And just to be able to promote a band that's as good as you guys are, it is just awesome for me. I've thrown your music to a bunch of people, and everybody's like, "Holy shit, these guys are great!" And that's the reason for this show.
Oh man, yeah. Thanks so much for that. It's really like great to see that people like from outside of Germany are like somehow getting in touch with us. So that's just a really cool thing for us to happen, because we still identify as like a local band. And the whole thing was actually really funny. Like when I saw your post on Instagram, like that had our album cover on it, I decided to just quickly listen into the podcast and find out why we are in this post. And I was in the middle of like shaving in the bathroom. I just came out of the shower and I heard like you guys talk about us, and I like immediately went out of the bathroom like with my towel still on and shaving cream on my face, and said like to Lars, our bass guitarist, I said, "Dude, get over here, you gotta listen to this." And we were like baffled. So that was really great, unexpected surprise.
Well, it's one of the things that what our mission here is to take talented bands from no matter where you are in the world, no matter what genre or type of music you play, to just promote talented bands and bands that we feel people should hear about, because there's so much music out there in the world, and there's so much stuff to sift through and go through. And, you know, we put a lot of work and effort into truly finding something that's spectacular and trying to get people to hear it. And when I started talking, to another person about it, and we're on the show, and he's like, he goes, "Yeah, I heard them play," and he made me like want to quit music because I was never going to be that good. And having a bond with someone over music, that's an amazing part of life, that two strangers can just become instant friends over music, and something that you created and gave us to talk about is just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's still like absolutely baffling to me, as I said, that it somehow reaches people like we've never even known or heard of, and that it just has such an impact is incredible. Absolutely.
Well, the first thing is thank you for the music you created, and why don't you give us a little background on the band and how you guys came together and put everything together and started making music together.
Yeah, of course. So we are CATAPULTS. We're in an emo punk band from Oldenburg in Germany, like northern Germany. We've been together for 4.5 years now, and we started out like as a group of friends. There's me, Joost, the lead singer and rhythm guitarist, Maurice, our lead guitar player, Lars on the bass, and Malte on drums. So that's the four of us. We've known each other for quite a while. Maurice, Lars, and I, we go way back, like to our time at school. And we came to know Malte when he started like studying at university with Lars. and we all still like live very close to each other and very closely together. So we like did see each other a lot. And most of us, except for me, have a background in music. Like each of us, except for me, has like played in a band before, and they have had the experience already at the time that we started the band. And the funny thing was that none of us was in a band at the same time, and everyone was like up for making music again. And we just decided like, fuck it, then let's do it together, whatever. I mean, each of us plays a different instrument. At least I was told of like, yeah, you just go ahead and sing. You can do that. You can do it. No worries. And then we got lucky that Maurice had an offer from one of his former teachers from school to share a rehearsal space with them. And it was like a total stroke of luck and ridiculously good timing that we all got together the way we did.
Well, I'm glad you did get together and find each other, because what you've created in a short period of time is nothing short of spectacular. I mean, and this is coming from someone way across the world. And I mean, how have you guys been received as a band in your homeland? I mean, what's it like there performing for people in Germany?
It's really nice. It's like it's obviously grown a bit over the past few years. In Germany, there is somewhat of a scene for anything punk and hardcore and like heavier rock music, and it is very dispersed though. And there's like certain hotspots where people of that kind who like that kind of genre hang out more. And we still try to cover like a lot of space in Germany in terms of where we play, and we still of course take on all those like smaller venues and smaller towns where there may not be a scene as strong as elsewhere. Like in Oldenburg itself, where we're from, there is kind of a music scene, but it's very, I want to say, tame almost. And it's like difficult to get them like get the people out to shows because yeah, it's kind of tough sometimes, and you just like have to almost force people to go somewhere with you, even like gigs from other bands. But especially in cities like Hamburg is like very culturally dense, and in Hamburg it doesn't really matter where we play or when we play because somehow we're known there. So we do have our gigs where we like uh, yeah, where we get better at eating shit, so to speak, like performing in front of like 10 paying people plus maybe the crew. But there's also like a few places, especially open air festivals. There's a lot of like open air stuff going on in Germany. That's like where we really get to like reach people because they're often very well crowded, and we can like really get that thing out that we do to as many people as possible. So yeah, it's cool performing in front of German crowds, but it's all we know for now. We haven't like played any gigs outside of Germany.
Well, I feel a sense from listening to your music that that's going to change somewhat quickly, that you're going to be performing in other places, because it's hard to deny what you guys have created so far. It really is. So
Yeah, and especially like with the release of our album, I'll be honest, and Drawers, the single we dropped afterwards in October, I feel like there's been a certain like spike in people who reach out to us like from elsewhere. We've had people from Texas, from somewhere in Oregon, people from Australia, even sometimes, and they reached out to us and like actually asked us when we're gonna play in the USA or wherever they might ask us to come. And especially coming from like native speakers of English, it's really humbling to know that what we do has a sense of something that is international, that is not distinctly German. And that's one of our main goals, that we don't sound like a German band, because we always know that a German band tends to have a difficult time, especially with the language, with the very thick German accent. And when you hear it, you don't really like get a good feeling from that. It feels somewhat weird sometimes to like have a thick German accent in English language music.
Yeah, and that was, you know, speaking with the person that I had on the show when I was like, yeah, no, they're from Germany. He's like, I had no idea they're from Germany. I was like, well, you wouldn't unless you looked them up like I did after I started hearing the music. I'm like, it literally just sounds like an amazing rock band, and there's no language even distinctly comes out anywhere that you would be a band from Germany. So that's why
Yeah,
it crosses over so well.
yeah, and that's like a sign for me that, especially I, as like someone who writes most of the lyrics together with Malte, that we both are doing something right, like in our wording, especially with writing lyrics for our songs and with how we deliver them. Because yeah, as I said, that's our main goal in all that, that we just get something out that is as cohesive and makes as much sense as possible in the language that we write in.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting for me asking this question, but you know, when you first started to hear music as a child in Germany, I mean, what was the music that you heard as a child that made you want to, you know, just hear something new and different all the time?
A lot of classic rock, actually. A lot of classic rock, because my dad like was like very much rooted in everything rock music from the, let's say, 60s to 80s, and all that was playing a lot in my home, like Lynyrd Skinner, The Who, AC/DC a lot, Status Quo. So that's the main kind of music that got me in touch with what's beyond on the radio, because German radio stations are really boring and they play only the best from the 80s, 90s, and the 20s, or the 2000s.
Yeah.
And it's the same top 40 pop playlist all over again. And that intensified a little when my brother, my older brother, got into bands like System of a Down, like into the heavier stuff. And that's how I like got all the more into this scene, which goes from like anything modern rock to deathcore and whatever there is. So it's opened me up like from an early age for new music. And I still try to like intensify that. I still try to find new music and reach out into other genres.
And was there a band like other than System of a Down that just because the music that you create isn't, you know, what people would categorize as I guess that was new metal, or I don't know where System, I think they were a band all of themselves and didn't fit
Yeah,
any mold. But
absolutely.
was there like another band that started you down the music that you play, which is punk slash emo slash indie, as I would, you know, throw all the slashes with all the genres that are out there in the world today? Is there another band that just like forced you to just be like, wow, this sound is completely fucking different, and I need to find other bands like this all over the spectrum?
Yeah, there are like a few like milestones in my music listening history. So the first one in that area was Rise Against. That was like one of the first bands that I like majorly got into and listened to everything they dropped, and loving most of it. And that band came pretty early, I would say. And then the band that launched me into this whole emo punk thing that we're doing now, um, that would be Say Anything, I think.
Wow, that and Say Anything, that's one of those bands that, I mean, I've always thought they're a great band, but for a lot of people, Say Anything is an acquired taste. Um, just the way that the vocal riffs and the song structure, it's one of those bands that you're either gonna love it or you're just gonna be like, it's okay.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's like me among all my other friends. Like I'm the one who grew up and like went into the whole genre with Say Anything, while the others had like more, I'd say, obvious choices like Fall Out Boy, or I don't know, Panic at the Disco. My Chemical Romance comes up a lot, and Say Anything had something really different to me. I remember when my brother first showed me, again, my brother, like very important person in my music taste. He first showed me Alive with the Glory of Love. And I instantly fell in love with that guitar sound. I had never heard a guitar like that before, and it was like eye opening.
Now, when did you start playing music? When did a musical instrument become something in your life?
Um, Good question. Like the first time I held a guitar was really early, like because we always had like an acoustic guitar lying somewhere around the house. But I really just started like playing music myself. Would have been especially when we talk about something like the guitar, which is the thing that I mainly play now. Um, that came when I was maybe 13 or 14, but it was like very loosely just playing and trying to learn some power chords from tabs. And it kind of stuck, but it never got like to a point where I would have said I really got good at it. So that's why I mostly play power chords on the rhythm guitar, which is like what I do when I play the rhythm guitar in a band.
Now, as a kid growing up and going to school and everything and trying to learn guitar, were you meeting up with other like-minded kids and trying to, do things together, or was it just a private thing for you?
That was very much a private thing. I used to be like really shy when it comes to like performing and stuff, and I just felt uh, I'd almost say ashamed very quickly, like of doing something like that. I would hide under the table when I was caught singing as a kid or something. I don't know. So it was a little bit of a self-esteem thing and being afraid to put myself out there. So that's really what I did when I was at home after school, sitting like in front of my, I don't know, PC or console or whatever I was playing on, and then just every now and then grabbing the guitar for half an hour, playing to myself and trying to learn like any song I was listening to, which was usually not the most like complex thing, so I could like learn it somewhat easily.
So if you're very shy in performing, I mean, when was your first performance in front of strangers, and what was that feeling like for you?
Wow, I can barely remember that. So I did play a bit of the saxophone when I was in like sixth grade because it was mandatory to learn like another instrument in musical education, whatever you want to call it. And so I picked the saxophone and I just kind of kept going with it for like a year or two. And we had some like, I wouldn't say, some performances like in, I don't know, school events or things like that. And that was, I don't know, maybe that was like something that got me a little more at ease with like doing things in front of people, because we always were like at least 10 kids with a saxophone on them at once. So that feeling of being in a crowd on stage, I think that may have kind of helped. But later in my time at school, I think like towards the end of school, I got into a theater group in into a drama group with a few classmates, because they like, I don't want to say pressured me to join them, and that's when I really got like comfortable with being on a stage and performing.
Now, when you were performing and getting comfortable like that, did that launch you to want to seek out something more with music? Was that a little bit of a stepping stone of, maybe I can do something else musically? I like the guitar and I've kept it private for myself for so long. Maybe it's time to look for something else. Is that when
Mm,
that started?
I don't really know. I think like those two moments when those two realizations came, that there were like different circumstances, but being in a drama group just helped me. Being in theater just helped me like put myself almost into a role when I'm on stage, just to like be able to hide any kind of insecurity, which is still something I think might carry over into our live performances. So we talk a lot of shit while we're on stage, like we make jokes at each other, and just ask people what they've had for lunch during the day. And we try to like keep it a little more lighthearted, even though our music is sometimes a little bit heavy. But yeah, the like the urge and the drive to perform on stage is something that I guess came naturally when we started Catapults, because like at some point we knew we'd have to play a gig, but we just told ourselves, and the others told me, like, just to have fun, like we're playing like with each other in our rehearsal space, but like with other people who may or may not like it, like just hoping that having fun on stage translates to people watching you. So if they see that the band on stage has fun, they might be like a little more inclined to like us, I would say.
Well, I mean that's a big thing, and when performing live, when bands are having a good time and just, I mean, it's infectious for the crowd. The crowd can feel that energy and feed off of that. So as long as you're having fun when you're performing, I mean, the crowd can sense it.
Yeah, I think so too, and it's something that even works like on a smaller scale. Like we've really had gigs with sometimes less than 10 people in front of us. But if one of those people went out of the bar and thinking, yeah, they were good, they were having fun, that is something that sticks. Maybe even a little more than just being purely good on a musical level, because it like maybe speaks to your emotions a little more.
Mm-hmm. Now, talking about gigs, I mean, do you remember your first concert you ever attended in your life?
The first concert I ever attended, I don't know like the actual like very first, but I can remember the first concert I like went to purposely and bought a ticket for, and like took a longer drive to get to, like something that really felt like a musical event. And that was pretty late. I think I was 15, and I went to see Royal Republic in Bremen, a Swedish band, Swedish, like I would say heavy rock band, but they had a really good first album, and that was the first concert I like consciously went to that had like mosh pits and stuff, and that was like infectious. Like from that point onward, I knew I would want to go to more concerts and see bands live because it's so much energy.
Do you have a show a concert that you went to that stands out for you in your head that was like the greatest concert you ever saw?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that concert I will be talking to my like grandchildren about, which was Death Grips in Berlin 2018. The most fucking insane concert I've ever been to. Like the crowd was more diverse than I've ever seen, like even in terms of like style. There were people in like there were people looking like they were going to a rave, and other people looked like they were going to a deathcore concert, and everyone was partying together. Not even to mention like the completely like almost tribalistic, insane performance from Death Grips. That was something that I will never forget. And even the way I smelled after that concert.
You getting this the existential smell from all the different people all over your body. Yeah, that's sweat and booze and tears
Yes.
and spit
Yes.
and yeah.
It's disgusting in the best way possible.
Now, if someone never heard any of your music and you told them you were in a band, what song of Catapults would you play for them? If you said, "Hey, here's a song by us that would best describe us," what song of yours would you play for them?
Wow. Good question. Um, if I was like to show someone, especially what I like Catapults means to me, I probably would pick Open the Blinds, the closing track from our album.
It's a great song, and it's definitely a little different than everything else that's on there too. So
Yes. And it's so great that you say that, because like the lyrics mean really a lot to me, because that was the last song we wrote for the album. And I went to write the lyrics like a week before we went into the recording studio. So like there was a certain time element in that. But by that point, I was kind of, I don't know, drained or exhausted from writing lyrics. And I was like stuck on the second verse and the chorus of the song. I didn't know what to write there. And one day I told myself I would go into a cafe, take the song with me and my notepad and a book to read while I'm not writing, and leave the cafe only when I finished the song. And I really couldn't get anything done in the first like hour. So I took a break and I went to read through my book, which was at that time House of Leaves by Mark Danielewski, one of my by now favorite books ever. And that's where I saw that line, let the cold water run. It's got to warm up eventually, right? And that just hit me. It just hit me on like a deep guttural level. And I wrote it down and it fit perfectly with the one line I had written for the chorus. And yeah, from that on, it was a matter of like an hour or half an hour to like finish the whole rest of the song. So there's a deeply personal element to like even the writing process
Yeah,
with that one.
it's the struggle. I mean, you can feel the struggle through the song, and I mean that's what's awesome, because you can almost get into a mindset of an artist writing something, because you can see that it comes together so well, but you can tell the change in an artist by a song, and that's the kind of stuff that sticks with me forever.
Yeah, and it's rare that that happens like that. The writer themselves and the lyrics are like felt in tandem, like on an emotional level. And it's yeah, it's difficult to reach. And from my personal experience, by now I would say that it happens almost like accidentally, like when you're really struggling to write a song, and the relief that comes just with the act of writing when nothing has happened for a long time. I think when that translates into the lyrics, you're doing something um, brilliant. And there's a few instances where that has happened to me, like with La Dispute, for example.
Yeah, and so a couple months back, I mean, you took some of your songs and you released them acoustically, and that's always been one of those things where, like, I look at a band, you guys rock, like you guys. It's almost one of those things, you turn on your music and you're punching someone in the face, and it's like, here we are. This is what this is what we have to say, and then when you come back a little while later and you're like, but here's kind of a softer side of the songs. I mean, what went into, and how to pick the songs that you wanted to do this little acoustic EP for?
mm, yeah, that was kind of a spontaneous decision that we would do that because when the whole pandemic thing began, and like in the summer of 2020, there was like a short period in Germany like where smaller concerts or open air could like take place. And oftentimes it was nothing big and there weren't like full bands playing. And that's when we first played a little acoustic gig in our hometown. And after that, we thought, okay, maybe we can do something with that and see like how much differently we could like pack those songs up and see maybe if we can like find a different side to those that maybe didn't come through in a full band recording, which I think um should the whole songs were like made up to be like played at a campfire, so that was the whole vibe we were going for. And we had just released Drawers at the time when we started thinking about like making the songs an actual EP. And with that song we immediately knew like how we would tackle it, because we always thought that whole lead guitar riff at the beginning would sound super beautiful if you play it on an acoustic guitar, like, and very softly. And the whole thing fell into place somewhat easily after that, like with how we arranged the songs.
And I mean, what I love about it is being able to when I want to hear a song, and this is, sometimes I know bands won't do it, but like when you bring me songs that I already love, and then you strip them down and give it to me another way, it actually helps me when I want to listen to a band, because maybe I'm just not in the mood to get punched in the face right now with your music, but I really want to listen to you. But now I have this to listen to. And it's exciting for a fan to have something like that to fall back on when you're, because your moods change, and when your moods change, your tastes change, and your ears change, and you just want something a little on the softer side, like you said, a campfire. If I'm sitting around a fire pit in the backyard, I want something a little softer and quieter to relax me when I really want to listen to a band.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Actually, I haven't really thought about it that way, but yeah, that can really work. Like, I wouldn't expect anyone to like listen to us continuously. So that's why we play short gigs, because like even we would know like punk bands get kind of exhausting after an hour, and yeah, having that in a like listening format is really cool. And I haven't actually thought about it that way, because when I listen to something that I don't want to punch me in the face, I pick like certain bands or artists that like specifically do that. So I don't stick with a singular band that much. But it's interesting to like know that perspective.
Yeah, and there was, I mean, there was a bunch of, back in the early 2000s, when punk bands and emo bands, they'd release their albums, and then the label would get, you know, every band on that label to do an acoustic version of their song. And I think that's kind of where it probably a little started for me like that with bands. I mean, I grew up listening to, my dad was in the folk music, and, you know, at a certain time. So acoustic guitar was very prevalent in my life to hear that tone. But like when you get into that big punk, you know, punk stripped down to acoustic, it's like, holy shit. And then sometimes, especially with certain bands, like their punk rock music is, just the screaming and the visceral energy that they put out in their songs, and then they strip it down to acoustic, and you hear a whole different side. You're like, oh my god, this guy can fucking sing. Like,
Yes, yes, that's something that I had with Defeater, with I Don't Mind. I think it was Defeater, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So I had only known the heavier stuff from them, and I thought I was listening to a different band when Lars put on I Don't Mind for the first time, and it took me like back. So that was like the first moment where I had that. I can totally feel that.
Yeah, those are the moments where I'm just like, wow, there's another thing. Like one of my favorite bands was Boy Sets Fire, and I don't know if you know them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I met Nathan Gray once,
yeah,
actually.
and Nathan Gray's voice is just. I mean, that's kind of what kept me for with them, was because you'd have their screaming post-hardcore sound, and then the next song, Nathan's just, his vocals rain through, and I'm like, oh my god, he's amazing. And then with all of his solo stuff that he does now, it's just like, that's maybe because I'm growing up and I'm getting older, and so is he, so we're like following the same trajectory when it comes to life and path and things we're going through. But it's just one of those things where I'm just like, man, his voice was so amazing, and hearing him do his soul stuff now, I'm like, man, there was never a need to scream for you.
Yeah, and then you go back and listen to I Am Heresy, and then like something else just happens with him. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I once saw I Am Heresy like completely on accident, and it was very very frightening, which is like all the more surprising that Nathan Gray does the music he like makes now.
Yeah, he's definitely, kind of gotten to that point where he's making music for everyone, not just, like a certain scene. He literally has said, okay, I know what I can do, and now he's creating music for everyone in the world to hear, which I love to see that maturation process in an artist too. Like, I mean, that's just awesome to watch.
Yeah, especially with him, it like feels like very personal too. Like you still somewhat feel the attitude that he has in like the other bands, but he has translated it so well to what he does.
Yeah, big fan of Nathan. All right, there's a moment, for us Americans, which is a huge day for us, and it's the day we get our driver's license, and we're allowed to
Yes.
legally drive. Okay, and going to pick up your friend after you get your driver's license, and you got the windows down or the heat cranking because it's freezing outside, depending on when you get your license. But what were you listening to when you went to pick somebody up after you were, got were officially allowed to drive?
Oh, let me think. It wasn't that much of a like great moment for me personally, even though Germany is like known for its cars. Um, I think the first thing that I listened to, I don't really remember, but it could have been something like Real Friends, something like from the more upbeat side of Real Friends. I think I listened to them a lot during the time when I like got my driver's license.
Nice, great band, Real Friends.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Where would you go, or where did you go when you got your driver's license to get fast food for the first time?
Oh wow, where did I go to get fast food the first time? Might have been Roy Rogers. Roy Rogers was a chicken hamburger and roast beef place in the States for a very long time, and it no longer exists, but it like had the best roast beef sandwiches. And I mean, I look at it this way: my best friend for my graduation from high school had bought me a gift card to Roy Rogers, so it had to have been Roy Rogers.
Okay, that's cool though, because that's like one fast food place or chain. I don't know. Were they a chain?
Yeah, they were a chain. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
bought. They were eventually bought by Wendy's, and then they closed
Oh,
them all down. Yeah.
okay, I see. Yeah, because like thanks to the internet, I got to know so many fast food chains from the States, and it's like sort of a fleeting interest, like for me, that sometimes I check in what kind of new chain is blowing up in the States.
Well, if they blow up really big, they'll be over there at some point. That's one of those things. I mean, there's so much fast food, and honestly, nowadays, as I call it, there's no such thing as fast food as it used to be with all the
Yeah.
regulations and everything. When no one cared, and when you could make a hamburger in 38 seconds for someone because you threw it in a microwave, they can't do that anymore. So.
Nah. I mean, I would love if like In and Out came over at some point, but that's probably never going to happen. Like that's the one chain that is still missing to me. But as long as they don't have any like plant-based options, I think I'm going to be out of luck anyway.
Well, listen, once the band takes off, as I predict you will at some point, you'll be able to play in the States and eat whatever fast
Oh,
food you want.
God, stop it! Stop pressuring me.
I'm going to. I'm going to constantly pressure.
Yeah,
I'm going to send you emails every week. I'm like, hey, plan to US tour yet? Hey, plan to US
yeah.
tour yet? What's going
Go
on?
ahead. Go ahead. I'll give you the contacts for a label and for a booking, and annoy them as much as you want.
Do
I
you,
would love that.
I'll do it. I mean, I'll absolutely do it. I'll sit here and like in the old days when you would write a letter a day to your local politician for them to change something, and just they couldn't. After a while, they just couldn't ignore you.
Yeah, like in Shawshank.
Yeah. Do you have a band in your life that has like never let you down? That like no matter what mood you're in, and you can always turn to this band to listen to their music, no matter what. Like people call it. Certain people classify it as a favorite band. I don't. I have bands that just don't let me down. Listen, every
Oof.
song isn't going to be a banger on an album from one of your favorite bands, but it's just always a band that you can turn to when you need to listen to music.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, that's deep now. I mean, any favorite band would have been easy at least like for the moment, but that goes way beyond that. Um, the bands that I like somewhat consistently listen to, they change kind of frequently, and like I always have my phases with bands, but like one band that I can go back to time and time again, and also one of the bands with the most like concise and most consistent like catalog would be Billy Talent, I think. I love Billy Talent. I have loved them for ages, and no matter the album, especially like the first trilogy, I could put them on anytime, I think.
Awesome. What's
And
your community of other bands like? Because just like over here, I mean, I'm in New Jersey outside New York City, and like now it's like there's a Brooklyn scene, and like all the bands know each other and they all hang out and help each other and perform. And in New Jersey, that's how it was in the early 2000s when like everybody was breaking into the emo scene. Like, what's the community and band like, band life with other bands for you guys over there? Do you have like a little community with other bands?
yes, absolutely. I even say like that many bands are very like close knit, and they are like very, very well networked. And oftentimes, like especially in our genre, bands know other bands, and they always know each other like across a few corners. And yeah, there's a few like local scenes going on, especially in southern Germany, like near Baden-Württemberg. Um, there's a city there called Karlsruhe, and we played there once. And after that, we got like very well connected, like with a lot of bands from Karlsruhe, and it's all like the same friend circle almost. And yeah, in our genre, bands do know each other and appreciate each other. It's a very like positive and welcoming community, at least in our limited knowledge that we can only speak from ourselves. But it's very nice, and you can like get in contact with other bands really easily, especially over Instagram, with like just messaging casually to each other, and oftentimes it's like a really friendly, nice conversation. So yeah, I do like our community a lot, and I appreciate it.
Sorry, excuse me. Um, when it comes to that and working with other bands, like are there a couple bands that you played with before, or is there any band that you've been on the same, done the same gig with, that you've been able to stand back and just be like, that was one of the greatest things I've ever seen? Is there a band that stands out to you that you've ever been on the same ticket with?
Mm, most likely, yes. So yes, there's one cool story. We played a gig in a really like small village somewhere up northwestern Germany, and it was in a barn. And we went there, and we were scheduled to play together with a band called White Crane, and they're from Münster, and they do something a little more in the veins of like what's a good example? I I compared them to Kings of Leon, but they didn't like that. But I meant it in a positive way, and maybe it was the circumstances that we didn't expect anything from that gig and from that night, that they still like stick in my head a lot when I think to like bands that we didn't know about before, and we played together with them, and they kind of blew me away.
Yeah,
Um,
I've heard their music before. They're very good, and it is a it's definitely a different type of thing where I wouldn't know who to compare him to.
no, really not. But cool that you've listened to them. And other bands like where we like were a bit dumbstruck. Yes, it's kind of cheating because I've known them before, and I wanted to mention them later into the podcast, but we shared the stage with Fjord in 2019, German post-hardcore, maybe even metal band. I don't know how to classify them exactly, but we shared the stage with them, and I knew them before, and I knew that I would want to go like first row on that concert, and it was absolutely massive. It was insane.
Is there a band that you would love to see perform that maybe has broken up, or that you wish you would be able to see them get back together and see them? Or is there a band that you look forward to that like you have to go see them if you ever have the opportunity?
Yes, quite a few actually. One band where I hope that they still like make music together, and where I hope that they will announce more concerts, which I've never seen live, is Radiohead. I've only started listening to Radiohead last year, and they've become like an integral part of my life since then. And I still hope that they somehow will announce some concerts or any kind of new music sometime in the future, because I've listened to them very intensely, and I need something new from them. Also, Kendrick Lamar. I would kill to go to a Kendrick Lamar concert if they weren't so expensive. Clipping comes to mind, the that noise rap group, because I adore them, and they were scheduled to play a gig in Hamburg in 2020, and it got canceled. And they're way up on the bucket list.
Awesome. Now, is there let's look at it this way. Is there a song that just brings you to tears every time you hear it?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I think I rarely cry listening to music. I do get emotional, but I rarely cry to music.
It's that German blood.
No, I do cry a lot, especially in movies. I went to see Everything Everywhere All at Once twice in the cinema, and I've cried both times. But one thing that got me choked up like really hard the first time I listened to it was In Vain by Sigrid, by the Norwegian pop singer. That one really got to me, especially because of like the time where I first listened to it, and I knew her as like one of those lighter pop artists, and then In Vain packed a punch and still does.
You got 5 minutes left to live. The world is going to end. A meteor's coming down. The earth is going to be no more. And you have to listen to one song and one song only before it ends. What song would you pick?
And I have only 5 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Ooh, okay. The last song I'll ever hear. It may be recency bias, but I would almost say Everything in Its Right Place by Radiohead. I feel like it has like the proper gloomy, everything is ending and maybe I'm already dead energy.
All right. And I mean, when it comes to Radiohead, I mean, if you're just getting into them, if you started on first album to the last one that came out, I mean, you want to talk about watching a band grow and change throughout time. I mean, I don't think there's another band that's ever done what they've done when it comes to just saying, okay, here's like Pablo Honey to me is still, it's amazing. And then going from that to OK Computer, and you're just like, what's going on? And then like they just continue to create sounds and things that I was like, how is this possible?
Yeah, absolutely. And the transition from OK Computer to Kid A gave me whiplash. I had started out with listening to OK Computer and the bands, and I was like, okay, this is nice. So let's see what the fuss is about with Kid A, because like it's even its album cover is iconic, and it comes up time and time again in like music Twitter and music Instagram. And so I knew that it was like something different, and people were somewhat contentious about it. And but it hit me like a train, that album. I was not able to sleep the first time I listened to it in full, because it had like gotten something. It got me into a state, into an emotional state that I don't think I've ever had before.
Yeah, and for those who didn't grow up with it, like I mean, Pablo Honey came out when I was in high school, so I'm aging myself without saying my age.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, the minute I heard the song Everyone Can Play Guitar, that was the moment for me where I was like, oh my God, this could be one of the greatest bands of all time, and it's one album. And then I got to go see them open for the band Belly, who in the 90s was pretty big, and being able to see Radiohead open for a band in a venue that was a Bowery, so it was 700 people at most, and it wasn't even really sold out. And then the next time I see Radiohead, it's with 30,000 people.
My God, you're lucky. God damn it.
So those are like the little moments that I always get to look back on and be like, yeah, I saw them. I think I paid like $18 to see that, and they opened for Belly, who no one probably remembers. And then the next time I get to, the next time I go see them, it's in 30,000 people are there, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but I don't think I've ever heard of Belly.
Yeah, hey, and it's fine. It's totally fine. It was okay. Tanya Donnelly. She was what was the other band? Shit, I can't remember the name of the other band. I know Throwing Muses. She was in Throwing Muses, which was late 80s, early 90s, and then she formed Belly, and then she did her own solo stuff. But yeah, that was Belly. That's my 30-second Belly knowledge for people.
Well, thank you.
If you went to a karaoke bar, what karaoke song would you sing for everybody? What song would you pick that you would sing that isn't your own for karaoke?
Ooh, okay. I want to say I don't know. The first thing that came to my mind would be "Go Your Own Way" by Fleetwood Mac.
Wow.
Yeah, because I distinctly remember going to a karaoke party in Hamburg with the band after we played a gig in Hamburg, and we got wasted, and we wanted to sing karaoke, and I didn't get to sing "Go Your Own Way," so I have like a personal vendetta with that song that I need to sing it in karaoke at least at some point in my life.
I love that. You have a vendetta against a song that you didn't have the opportunity to sing at karaoke, and it's a goal to look forward to. Like you literally need to seek out, like, I need to go perform this song, and just everyone, you're going to listen to this, and that's it. This is my own personal journey to this song.
Yes,
singing it.
Yes. Like my bucket list says, plant a tree and underneath sing karaoke, but sing "Go Your Own Way" in karaoke. All caps.
Two great goals to have on that bucket list. So what do you guys, are you working, what do you have planned for the future for the band? I mean, I know it's hard to look in a crystal ball and always plan for the future, but what are you guys wanting to do? What's coming up next for you guys? What do you have in motion to do more? Are you anything?
Yes. First and foremost, we did go to the studio and recorded 5 new songs that we're going to release as an EP next year, and there are going to be 3 singles for the second half of this year. So there's new music on the way. We plan to play as many gigs as we can. Yeah, as we possibly can, given our time with full-time jobs, like as much as possible to squeeze that in between everyday work, and hopefully that US tour at some point in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. I mean,
hell yes,
because no matter what, I'm going to have to see you perform live at some point. So that's on my bucket list.
Yeah, you can. You can bet that there's going to be a guest list spot if we ever play in New York. Well, also, another bucket list item, by the way.
Well, listen, I wouldn't care what it costs for me to see you guys perform in New York, just to see your excitement of being able to be there and perform in front of people, and because it's going to happen at some point, and it's going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, and we're probably going to be terrified of speaking English to like native English speakers, like with the whole band. But let's hope for the best.
Yeah. Well, listen, we've kept you here long enough. I want to give you an opportunity before we move into our last portion of the show, where you guys initially showed up and brought us together. So I want you to tell everybody how to find everything that you're doing, all your social for people to find your stuff and where to find your music and everything. Give you that opportunity.
Oh, yeah, cool. So people who want to like look us up on social media, we are on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram under the name Catapults Band, like written in one word. You can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Tidal if you use that. Great service, by the way. Yeah, just look up Catapults. We have one album out and 2 EPs and an acoustic EP. And if you're patient, you can go and listen to some music of us sometime later this year.
Well, it gives me something to look forward to, and nothing makes me happier than having something to look forward to.
Thank you so much. Thank you, really.
So we're in the final segment. It is our weekly threes. This is where you guys popped up and forged this nice little relationship we have here from across the world. It's 3 things that you're listening to, 3 bands or people you're listening to right now that you would like people to check out.
Yes, and I've prepared something for the people to listen to because I thought I'd use the opportunity to like show people some other German bands that they may not know and who deserve to be heard like everywhere, I think. The first band I would like to name is Get Jealous. They're a 3-piece band from Hamburg and the Netherlands. We've played together with them. Great band for fans of No Bro, for example. Really cool, garagey riot punk. Next to that, there's Chiefland. Fantastic post-hardcore scene-ish band. They have just released a new single, which is called Pretty Good Run, and another one that got me choked up, by the way. And they are great. They have been great for a few years. There's been a change in like their constellation. They have a new singer who makes them sound a little more like Citizen. And yeah, I've listened to their stuff and they are fantastic, especially the last few singles. Yeah, again, which one was it? Pretty Good Run and Every Creature Dies Alone. Go and check those guys out. Great stuff. And finally, I have to again mention Fjord. FJO with like one of those lines through it, RT. Yeah, pretty much the best German speaking band I know. There's always a bit of a like language barrier to go through, especially with like German singing and German vocals, but they fucking shred. They're absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to see them live again.
Awesome. Good 3. I like how you were prepared. That's pretty awesome. My 3 for this week. My first one is a band called Well Wisher, New Jersey indie band. There's an album called This Is Fine. If you were a fan of emo post-hardcore band Pogo back in the day, this was right up your alley. Next band is a band called Tree River, Brooklyn-based indie band. They have a song out called Same Blood. That's Same, S-A-M-E, Blood. Song's just fucking killer. And last but not least is a band called Big Nothing. The album's called Dog Hours. They're a Philly indie rock band. I think they're a band that anyone can listen to get some some nice little indie rock in your life. So those are my 3 for this week.
Cool. I'll go and check those out.
Good. I hope you do.
Yes.
But I just want to say thank you so much for the music you've created. Thank you so much for reaching out to us after we gave you a shout out on the show. It means a lot that this kind of stuff gets around the world and bands recognize that there are people that do care about them from anywhere around the world. I think that's one of the most important things that artists need to hear, and it keeps them going, is that you're reaching a broader audience than you may ever think in your mind, and people do appreciate what it is that you do and what you've created for them. So we want to thank you for that here.
Yeah, and same goes to you, really. Thank you for those kind words. And Maurice actually listens to those before he goes to sleep. He told me to tell you. Yeah, he said it was his favorite compliment that he's ever gotten. Yeah. So yeah, keep doing what you do. I really, really deeply appreciate it. We all do, and I really hope that other bands get to be like recognized as we did.
Well, that's our goal, and we're going to continue on doing this. And as long as there's people such as yourselves out there creating music for other people to listen to, and that just fucking kills every time you hear it. So
fuck yeah. Nothing more to say to that.
No, but you know what? Everybody that's been listening, this has been awesome. Our first German guest, the great band Catapults. You know what your job is right now to do. You get done listening to the show, you go out, listen to Catapults, and have a great fucking time.
At least you hear the sound. 'Cause they play music like recently this has become commonplace. These days I feel like something out there wants me dead, or is trying to make me stay in my own bed. So I prepare for war to wash away these dark thoughts. I can't keep on pretending that I am helpless after all. If you don't matter, nothing does. Nothing does. I'll leave my fucking house even if it kills me. I'll breathe some fresh air, and even if I get sick, I'm gonna break every single bone in me if it means that in the end I'll get to you. I can't keep on pretending that I am helpless after all. If you don't matter, nothing does. Nothing does. I know you've got your fair share of problems. Things might look grim, but remember, if you don't matter, nothing does. If you don't matter, nothing does. If you don't matter, nothing does. If you don't matter.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.